I've been an entrepreneur for up to 6 years now. And the number one question I always get asked is, hey Jen, if you were to be a new entrepreneur today, what would you change? What were your struggles that you had earlier that you kind of wish you would have known? I'm gonna dive deep into this and share with you my 3 biggest struggles that I had when I was a new entrepreneur and how I wish somebody would have told me about them. So stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jen Morilla, and this YouTube channel is for entrepreneurs who are looking to grow on social media. If you're new here, then welcome to the community, and I'm so glad that you're here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit that bell so you get notified every week when I drop new videos. And if you're coming back for more, well, it's good to see you, my friend. What is up? Okay, in this video, I'm gonna share with you how I started my entrepreneurial journey. Basically, what I was doing before I became an entrepreneur, what were the feelings, the thoughts, the emotions that came up when I decided to leave my corporate job to become an entrepreneur. And then the 3 things that I ultimately struggled with that you can hopefully learn from and walk away with some solid tools. All right, so let's get into it. I've been wanting to do this video for a really long time. By the way, I know we don't have the normal background coming to you from Miami, where I've been for quite some time now, and it's the perks of being your own boss, right? And ultimately, one of the biggest reasons I quit my 9-to-5 to become an entrepreneur is to have the flexibility and the autonomy to just be able to travel when I wanted to and to stay in a location for as long as I wanted to. Because that's the other thing too. My job did have some travel in it, but I couldn't stay in places for too long because I obviously had to get back to my New York City office. So let's start at the very beginning. I used to work at a marketing agency in New York City. I was an account manager and I worked with brands at a marketing agency, and I was there for almost 3 years when I ultimately realized that I was really unhappy with what I was doing. I loved the tactic, like the logistics of my job. I love my team. I wasn't crazy about my clients, if I'm being honest, but I felt like what I did had no purpose. And that was the biggest driving force for me, was realizing that I felt like I had so much more I wanted to give, so much more I wanted to do, and working on marketing campaigns wasn't it. Like I said, I loved what I did. I love marketing and I love my marketing experience, but I didn't like that. And then the other huge factor was that life is short. And I wanted the flexibility and the freedom to be able to travel and go wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted. There was something about having to only be able to travel once a year for 2 weeks that really just like kind of pissed me off. So I was like, that's not for me. That's not what I want to do. I want to be able to stay at a place for 3 weeks, for 4 weeks, whatever. I'm here in Miami right now, and I've been here for 3 weeks already, right? I was in Mexico. I went for a holiday. I ended up staying for 3 months. And I only have that ability to do that because I've built this online business. And that was the ultimate dream for me, was to build this online business. And so I started my career as a travel blogger, and I was formerly known as the Social Girl Traveler, and I did that for about 3.5 years. But I wasn't just a regular travel blogger, you guys. Remember, the point of my career was that I wanted to create impact, I wanted to give back, I wanted to be of service. So I started carrying clean water filters to developing countries. I did that for about 3.5 years, and it was successful, which was beyond me, because I remember thinking when I quit my corporate job, like, are people gonna follow me? Are they going to like what I have to say? Is this going to work? This is crazy. And I was one of the very first travel bloggers that started back in 2015. There wasn't a lot of us then at that time, right? And actually, let me rewind for a second, because I think it's important for me to share the day that I quit my job, how nervous I was. And it was January 22nd, because that was the date that I gave myself. I wrote down a piece of paper and I told myself that if by that day I was extremely unhappy and I had accomplished all these things that I needed to do for myself, that I was going to leave my corporate job. And so I put in my 2 weeks that day. And I remember that before I went to my office to talk to my boss, I went to the bathroom and I cried for, like, not even kidding, 30 minutes. Just like sobbed, just sat in the stall on the toilet seat and just sobbed like a baby. And I was so nervous. And one of the biggest reasons that I absolutely adored my boss. He was an amazing man, and he helped me so much. He helped me create discipline, which is something that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially when you're just starting and you've never worked in corporate, it's something that you need. Intention and discipline are two very important things, which don't worry, I'm gonna dive into. It was a huge struggle for me, but I ultimately really needed that. In order to get to the level of success that I've reached, I've had to have a level of discipline, intention, and focus, and that would not have come if I wasn't in corporate. Now, that's not to say that if you were to graduate from university and start an entrepreneurship job, you won't be successful because you didn't go to corporate. Or if you go to corporate and then you leave a 9-to-5 and then you start your own business, again, that doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. Either or can work, and either or is different. Every single person is different. And it's something to remember, because that really just easily dives into the very first struggle that I want to talk to you about, is the support and the mindset. Now, there's two parts of this that I think are really important, is the fact that when I first started, I was very much like, I can do it alone. I don't need anybody's help. And the truth is that we are wired as humans to work better together. Like, it's just a fact. The reason why corporations exist is because people working together, like successful corporations, like no one person can create $1 million business. It takes an entire corporation, it takes an entire village to create that level of success, right? So when you are an entrepreneur and you're starting out, you're essentially doing everything by yourself. And from someone who came from a corporate setting, who had someone on her team that was doing design, that was doing customer service, that was managing this, that was doing that, it became a lot more different and difficult when I started doing it all for myself. The ball totally changes. So if there's something that I can go back and I would have said to a younger version of myself, it would have been, get the support because you need it. Like, bottom line. And what I mean by that is getting a coach, joining a mastermind, following people who were doing it, who have done it and did it better than I did, and follow in their footsteps. Simply because they know the ins and outs, they have already messed it up, etc. Now, I also said that I was one of the very first that had done this, right? And that is really true. So there wasn't a lot of people that I could have worked with, but I could have hired an accountability coach, or I could have worked on a program that it would have helped me to, like, I don't know, better my skills and stuff like that. And instead of me trying to scatter everything and pull everything from YouTube and Google, while YouTube and Google are great products, obviously, for you to learn how to do things, ultimately investing in yourself is extremely important. And the second side to that is not only for the strategy and the knowledge, but also for the mindset. Guys, being an entrepreneur is really hard. And doing it on your own is even harder. So having that person that you can talk to, having those group of people that are at the same level, doing the same things, or maybe a little bit above you, would really, really help create and cultivate a community of people that support each other is extremely important. That's why coaching and masterminds are so important in this industry, because honestly, I wish I would have invested in myself sooner. The second thing this brings me to is time management, my struggle. When I quit my job, I automatically was like, okay, I am going to start working because I need to make money right away. And while that is very important and very true, I should have ultimately given myself some time off, because my brain was so wired to work for someone 9-to-5 that I was already burning out from that job, and then starting to work for myself and doing twice as much work did not help. And it just led me to burnout a lot quicker. So I wish I had the support, the mental support, and that's like therapy, coaching, mindset, community, whatever, to help me figure out, how do I take care of myself first in order for me to serve others, right? And then working on that time management, having that morning routine that was only for me, stopping work at a certain time so that I can actually live a life, right? Not have to worry about working 24/7 and having like that hustle mentality, which, by the way, if that is you, check out this video here where I talk about hustling and how it's probably hurting your business. So I digress. Yeah, really focusing on yourself more than anything, and then being able to work on the business. And when you have that time management, the biggest thing for me, you guys, was sleep. I wasn't sleeping. I was probably sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night, and I thought that was like more than enough, but I was spending almost 12 to 13 hours a day on my computer. And it was between building out the websites, creating content, editing videos, like doing all the things that I could possibly do in order to make a little bit of money, right? Until one brand finally saw me, and then it was just the next. But even with all of that, I was still doing all the work. I didn't have that structure of like, oh, maybe I should hire someone. The only reason I had my first VA was because I burned out. And then a friend of mine who actually said, hey, why don't you get a VA? And I was like, oh, genius, you're so smart. So my point is that it doesn't have to get to that point. It's a really cool alarm clock that goes off on every hour. I think it's A Small World. I don't know what song that is, but it'll be off in 2 seconds. Okay, cool. All right, so return from our commercial break. So the big thing was time management. Being able to have that discipline to work during a certain amount of hours, take off time for me, take care of myself first, and then focus on the business, right? And this leads me to, last but not least, my third struggle, is having a vision for the business. I had big goals, but I didn't have the steps to get there. And the biggest thing when you're building a business is you get wrapped up in the goal and almost overwhelmed with what you want to do, and you don't have the mental capacity to create the small little bits and pieces and steps that it's going to take to make you reach that goal. Which is why the support, which is why the time management and like taking care of yourself ultimately comes all into place. Because when you have a stability, when you have a foundation to who you are and the vision of what you want to create, it becomes a lot easier to create those mini goals in order for you to create the kind of business you want. I wish somebody would have told me, hey Jen, you need a business that would sell a lot quicker. That I would have created a product sooner to sell faster, is my point. I could have done that way sooner, but my mindset wasn't in the right place. I created my very first online product in 2018, and it allowed me to be able to make my own money and not rely on brands and sponsorships, which I made money from, but it wasn't enough to really sustain the kind of lifestyle that I wanted to have. And creating courses on how to use social media, how to build an online business is what changed the game for me. And I could have done that sooner. Instead, it took me 3 years to do it, right? So all in all, if I would have had that vision and then those mini goals to get there, and making sure that I held myself accountable for those goals would have made all the difference. Changed the game completely. All right, guys, so there you have it. I know I've unpacked a lot, but I hope that this was super helpful for you guys. And I hope that if you're someone who's just starting out on the entrepreneurial journey, you've taken notes and you've found this super helpful for you. Because honestly, half of what I just said in this video, I really wish somebody would have told me when I first started. So yeah. Anyways, there you are, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great day. Bye.